the Chi-Town experience on the flight. Let me go tune in to Keek on the mic. He gon' make sure we get our news and highlights. When you get on YouTube, you better hit the like.
Buckle up, Bears fans, because the Chicago Bears coaching search just intensified to the whole new level. Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. As always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, Bears fans, this week for the Chicago Bears head coaching search just got a lot more interesting. If you guys are watching last night, the Washington Commanders went into Detroit and upset the Detroit Lions by a score of 41-35, meaning that some of the top head coaching candidates in Lions OC Ben Johnson and Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn are now available to be hired as soon as this week. And the Chicago Bears, the second the Detroit Lions lost to the Commanders last night, made a huge move to schedule an in-person interview with former star Titans running back Eddie George and current Tennessee State head coach Eddie George. And you know what's funny about all this is that, the Bears were being so stoic, right? So stoic with their head coaching search, casting a wide net. What they really, truly showed their hand on who they truly want to, as their next head coach, and that is Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. The only reason why they interviewed Eddie George is to comply with the Rooney Rule. So now they have Eddie George, and then of course they had Ron Rivera as an in-person interview, which is the two Rooney Rule interviews that they needed to complete prior to finally going to complete their head coaching search and hopefully get a deal done with one of their top head coaching candidates. And what cracks me up about all of this, Bears fans, it's just scrolling through social media last night, just seeing, Bears fans freaking out about the Chicago Bears interviewing Eddie George, dang near having an aneurysm about it. And it's like, Bears fans, this was all a plan, and I have to give a lot of credit to Eddie George because he can't be naive to the fact that he has no chance in hell to be the next head coach of the Chicago Bears. He is doing the Chicago Bears organization a huge favor. So if the Bears do get what they want, rather it's Mike McCarthy or Ben Johnson, hopefully they award Eddie George, hopefully an interview to be on some part of the coaching staff, whoever the coach is, just to thank him for being a true team player during this process. So now the Chicago Bears can go out and hire whoever they want. The Rooney Rule is now complete, and now they can go out and hire whoever they want. I think they did all this on purpose. They're really calculated. The second that, the Lions lost, they scheduled an interview with Eddie George to get the Rooney Rule out of the way. And it seems like this is all for Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, and rightfully so. We've been talking about Ben Johnson for months and months and months, dating back to even last year, where there's rumors that Ryan Poles has been doing his research on Ben Johnson. Now the Chicago Bears are now in a race with the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think just like Adam Schefter is reporting as of this morning prior to the playoff games today, I think the Bears, the Raiders, and even Jacksonville all have a fair opportunity to land Ben Johnson to ease your nerves a little bit. Because I know there's a lot of Bears fans that are kind of uneasy about the idea of us maybe not even landing Ben Johnson and possibly going with Mike McCarthy instead. I want to, read a post from Benjamin Albright. He's an NFL insider, and he has a lot of connections inside NFL circles. This is what he had to say as of this morning on the whole Ben Johnson sweepstake going on right now between the Raiders, Bears, and even Jacksonville. He said this: "I still feel like anyone saying that Las Vegas is his favorite is making something up. The best way to phrase it, and the best way to phrase it then, was the Raiders really want him, and they did a good enough job selling that. He actually is taking an interview with them. But I don't think even at this juncture right now, there's a leader in the clubhouse for him. My gut still says the Bears, but the Raiders are in it, and even the Jag to an extent." And I definitely agree. I think we have to, when you're talking about Ben Johnson, I think the only person that knows what Ben Johnson wants is Ben Johnson's agent and Ben Johnson himself. He just lost a playoff game to the Washington Commanders. He's probably a little bit defeated at the moment, just doing his exit interviews with his players and the Detroit Lions. And then he will be all business. But I will say this. He will have a head coaching job by the end of this next week. So things are going to ramp up. The Chicago Bears are doing their due diligence, and obviously Las Vegas is doing their due diligence as well, bringing in GMs that have a connection with Ben Johnson. So this is going to be an interesting week, both for the Las Vegas Raiders and the Chicago Bears. But once again, the Bears head coaching search is heating up. I think the Chicago Bears do have their top candidates. I think when you're looking at their top head coaching candidates, I think the top three right now are Ben Johnson at 1, Mike McCarthy at number 2, and I think Todd Monken is number 3, the Ravens offensive coordinator. So obviously if the Ravens also lose today against the Buffalo Bills in their playoff game, the Chicago Bears will have all top 3 candidates available to possibly hire for their next head coaching opening for their organization. So things are really going to heat up over the next couple of days. My gut feeling still says that it's Ben Johnson. I'm along with Adam Schefter and Benjamin Albright. I feel like anyone that is saying that Ben Johnson's mind is made up or it's a done deal with Las Vegas is just making things up at this point. I don't think Ben Johnson knows what he's going to do. I think he's going to, take his second interviews in person and then make a decision. But I do think it comes down to the Chicago Bears and the Las Vegas Raiders. But once again, the Chicago Bears put themselves in a situation. I think they have the infrastructure ready for Ben Johnson, meaning talking about the quarterback and Caleb Williams, the pieces around Caleb Williams. The only really thing the Chicago Bears need to do is fix their offensive line. Once the offensive line is fixed, the Chicago Bears are ready to compete now. When you're looking at the Las Vegas Raiders, I am looking at more of a rebuild due to the fact that they still do not have a quarterback. They do have some really nice young pieces on the outside and Brock Bowers and Jacoby Meyer. Even when you look at the defense, they have Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby as well. So the Raiders also have some nice, intriguing pieces. But when you look at the most important position, the quarterback position, they do not have that figured out. So I think that's what, in my personal opinion, gives the Chicago Bears the edge. I feel like the Chicago Bears are more ready to compete right now. And that's why I would say that it's more compelling for Ben Johnson. But at the end of the day, we'll see what the Chicago Bears truly want to do. But like I said, I don't think they were rushing to bring in Eddie George for an interview to comply for the Rooney Rule, just to bring in and hire Mike McCarthy, right, as our next head coach. I think they are doing all this for Ben Johnson. They're going to make their final push. All the rumors, all the news coming out of Chicago is indicating that Ryan Poles is enamored and wants Ben Johnson as the head coach. Obviously, it seems like a lot of players want Ben Johnson as the next head coach. Really, the hurdle was Kevin Warren, and it seems like even Kevin Warren has come around to the fact of Ben Johnson being the next Chicago Bears head coach as well. So the Bears have done everything they can, in my personal opinion, to hopefully set up and make Ben Johnson want to come over here to Chicago. But at the end of the day, if Ben Johnson doesn't choose the Chicago Bears and the opposite goes to the Las Vegas Raiders, that's on him. And we move on. And obviously the Chicago Bears have done and casted a wide net of coaching interviews to get this hire right. And the Chicago Bears will have some other very good candidates to fall on if Ben Johnson does in fact choose the Raiders. Mike McCarthy is also a very good backup plan. I feel like Todd Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator, will also be a very good backup plan for the Chicago Bears. And some may even argue that those two options may be better than Ben Johnson, right? So it's one of those things. I know we want Ben Johnson. I think he does have all the qualities to be a really good head coach. But whenever you are hiring a first-time head coach, there's obviously risk there involved. So those are risks that you take. I think he is worth the risk. But once again, I think we shouldn't be too devastated if he does, in fact, choose the Las Vegas Raiders. But overall, Bears fans, things are going to start heating up. So make sure you guys continue to hit that subscribe button and the notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms, and make sure you share this episode of Keek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, be back for all new Bears podcasts right here on Keek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and as always, bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic. You can go and subscribe, cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Keek on the mic.